So here we are in Lacey at another job. We are doing a front yard install. This is a larger piece of grass on this side. We're splitting into two zones, and we've got a little bit of landscape bed to go with it. So this is a fairly typical install for us as far as just the regular spacing. We're spaced at our 13 to 15 feet. We're going to be using our stream rotors, and I like to plot out things in a way that I don't crowd the trenches too much. So I've actually got it split up so only one trench houses more than one pipe. So that's always nice because it makes easier for us repair guys when we have to come back and dig stuff up. So otherwise, this is going to run pretty efficiently as far as the spacing goes and everything. We're going to run at, everything's plotted at about 6 gallons a minute. And then everything is going to be run at preset sprinklers at 30 pounds. It's actually a little low for the nozzle style that we're using, but we're doing it on purpose. This stream rotor has a 1000 version, but generally likes to run at a higher pressure. The city has recently put in an ordinance requiring pressure regulating sprinklers, which gets us a little under what the first line of stream rotors like to run at. So trick we picked up is that you can use the same 2000s, which is the next size up, with a 30-pound head and basically do the same thing. And so that's what we're doing here. Otherwise, the only other part of the job is doing the drip line, which we're going to have some spectrum sprays for. She's got a lot of bulbs and some grasses and stuff. And so we're going to do some small misting spectrums off of a drip line in a couple spots to pick up. That way, if she plants other stuff, she can just plant nearby and still get wet. So here we have our valve boxes with our point of connection and our valves. Right now it looks like a mess, but once it gets cleaned up, you're hardly going to notice them here. So this is so we can talk about the interesting point of connection. Obviously you can see we're coming through a vent and then down into our point of connection here that comes out to our manifold. And so typically when we do an install, we tend to go to the water meter, and right after the water meter, we'll like to cut in a T. The reason we do that is that everything in the house operates at a lot lower flows than anything we use out here in the yard to water the yard. So we need the maximum amount of water available to maximize these zones and get the most bang for our buck, so to speak. Typically we're cutting into a 1-inch pipe, whereas a lot of stuff like this hose bib back here is run on 1/2 inch. And so 1/2 inch copper type K can only handle about 3 gallons a minute through it, which means we would be running maybe 2 sprinkler heads at a time. So instead, I crawled under the house and located the water line coming in, and then I cut in and installed a 3/4 inch line, insulated it, strapped it up, and carried it under the house over to where we needed our water. Now, this is something that a lot of landscapers typically are nervous to do. They usually won't do this. In fact, they would have probably tried to carry a pipe all the way around the house and disturbed all of this pretty rock. So, but I have an indoor plumbing background. I worked as a residential plumber for a couple years, and I even worked briefly as a union plumber. So I have that residential backflow where I'm not scared to climb under the house and find what I need and cut into it. So this is something that you don't normally see from a landscape company as far as how they would tie it in. Once we get everything installed, I'll bring my kit out and I'll test this up, make sure it's running. Sometimes, believe it or not, sometimes I do pull them out new from the factory and find something wrong with one of the checks. So that's why we do it. So we'll get that tested up. I'll get these valves wired up, and by the end of today, we should have sprinklers watering. So what I like about this job is that I was initially contacted, well, it's twofold. I was initially contacted by her son. Her son wanted to put sprinklers in for the big grass section in the front. His mom really likes to take care, have green grass, and so I always like when sons try and do stuff for their parents, because I tend to go over and work at my mom's house a lot, and so I know the feeling. So I'm always happy to do that for someone. And then the other part is that it's a little bit of an unusual tie-in, and he found us on Instagram. So I always love when the social media aspect is working and people are able to find us across different platforms. So I think that's what makes this a really nice job.